Subscribe and press the bell icon to enjoy more exciting and enlightening videos from Dheya.
Namaste, Namaskar. Welcome to Dheya Career Mentors webinar today on career literacy. Let me introduce myself. I'm Vidya. I do take care of Dheya Career Labs. And today I have two special people with me, Anand Desai and Naveen Badrinarayan. Anand is the CEO and founder of Dheya Career Mentors, where Naveen is the director of research department. So
We
to
also have
start
Shekhar with us.
so, warm welcome to you all on behalf of Dheya. So, to start with, I'd like to ask Naveen, what exactly career is meant? Like, what exactly? Because from childhood we hear career, career, career. So, what exactly career means for you?
First of all, I'd like to thank Vidya for that brief introduction. And it's a very apt question that you started to begin this whole session. And I'm sure, everybody is interested in, having a lot of interaction and discussion on this very interesting topic today. So when I talk about this word career, and as rightly brought out by Vidya, when we grew up, we all heard about this word career. And, every time we heard this word career, and even today, when we go and type it on Google, very amusingly, you will see a lot of education options start coming up. So sometimes I wonder, are we talking about career is equal to education? So, today in this session, we are going to actually talk about a lot of myths that are in our mind and how we are going to bust those myths. So if you ask me, what is this word career? Is career equal to education? Is the first thing. Or is it something beyond education? Now, if you look at our education lives, what we found is we're spending 18 years of our life in education, right? From the time you enter school and you finish your post-graduation, it's about 18 years, 5 years to 23 years. But then if you look at work life, it starts from 23 and goes on for more than 40 years. So if you look at this entire lifespan of a human being, there are so many events that happen in this lifetime. So are we supposed to consider this entire lifespan, or are we just looking at education? Because I think the work life is much, much larger, maybe more than 2 times of education. Then how can we just call education as a career? It is obviously beyond that. And I would say even education is a part of the career, but it's also to be considered. So there are different experiences which I would call it as a career. That's my take on that. Over to you, Vidya.
Thank you, Naveen. And as you said, so only education is not career. So I'd like Anand to have some views on this. Anand, do you agree with what Naveen said?
Yeah, absolutely, because this is what we've been propagating and we've been talking about it that, see, it's got beyond education. Because what's happened is, see, I'll tell you, today with a piece of paper, when you get a degree, now I don't get angry on me when I talk about a piece of paper, but it's actually the piece of paper. Unfortunately, people are not actually getting what they call it as the jobs and all that. Now, I don't want to demean the word called education because that's also necessary. But what is more important is a career is a sequence of events that happen in your life. And as you go by, okay, you create a kind of a lot of achievements, lot of accomplishments, lot of gatherings. Like if you look at the career of Tendulkar, okay, international cricket player, the best in so and so, records in so and so, achieved so and so, and this guy, person has a multi-talented kind of an identity. Now, what happens is that is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the word called career. It just goes beyond education to a list of things that you keep on doing throughout your life and build an identity, and that's what is career all about, as per me. Okay, so we cannot just look at it narrowly when it comes to just education and degrees. Unfortunately, it is made out to be today. It is made out to be that, okay, if you take this degree, you have your career. For example, we have a lot of kids who are actually studying IIT, okay, for IIT. And they say, okay, if it's for IIT, that's what is career all about. And that's what it is. What do you think, Shekhar? What do you think about it? Come on, I want to hear Shekhar because Shekhar is quite active in this entire thing.
Rightly said, completely resonate with what you're saying. 18 years, it is not easy to just take a education and get into a career is an assumption. Unfortunately, the reality is when you enter work, suddenly you realize that your education is not equipped you to get into the world of work. And then you are caught playing catch up with the requirements in the world of work. Oh, you have it. Have you done this? Okay, you've got a degree, but do you have the skill? Big question mark. 18 years. It is not just in terms of time, but in terms of money, in terms of effort, in terms of energy and emotions, and not just the person who goes through all of this, but also the parents. So all of this gets multiplied times 3. Most important, people don't realize that it is more than 2.5 times. The world of work is more than 2.5 times your years of education, more than 40 plus years. Today, the registrar of companies has expanded or has increased the retirement age to about a little over 70. So when you get into the work at the age of 22, 23, and then you have to realize, ye to maine socha hi nahi tha. You know, it becomes a bigger question mark. And then you have no time because the world of work is like Viru Sahastra Buddhe. Bhago, you have no time. You cannot catch up. Before the year is over, you have to appear to for something called as a annual performance appraisal. And the questions are, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Wow. You don't even know whether the career exists. You got to be very careful. All right. With that, I hand the ball back to Naveen, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Shekhar. It's a very enlightening, thought of yours. And I would ask, it's a very interesting thing though, what we're talking about, because, we grew up like that. We grew up listening that if you do education, life is good. And, we thought that just because I'm good in maths, just because I can get good marks in maths, so I should become an engineer. And, unfortunately, even today parents are thinking the same thing. That just because a child is very good in maths and likes science a lot, so they should get into engineering. And if they get into IIT, their life is made. And, I was of that opinion for quite some time in my life. But then last 6 or 7 years has been an eye-opener, where I've actually seen, what's happening is completely obnoxious. We see so many engineers today. In fact, even IIT engineers, we talk to IIT engineers and they are at the third year, fourth year, they are deciding that, they don't want to do anything related to technical or engineering work. In fact, the research says that 93% of IIT engineers are into things other than engineering. So, it's very funny the way this education system and the world of work has kind of played up to each other. And it's high time that we start understanding career from a different perspective. So that's my view on career. And I think over to Vidya so to move on this topic.
Thank you, Naveen sir. Thank you, Shekhar. So you mean to say like we need to literate people about career? It's like we need to implement some career literacy kind of thing, like we have digital literacy, finance literacy, like that, something related to career literacy. Do you mean that?
Absolutely. I think that's the need of the hour is what I feel. And I think career literacy is a new keyword that we are coining here in Dheya. And we say that, this career literacy is something that we need to really work very, very hard on, because it's the need of the hour today for every single parent out there, every single student out there, and every single professional out there to get career literate. And you know what? This is going to be a kind of an interesting question. Like, how can you tell me that I'm not career literate? Because it's like I'm literally pointing a finger and saying that, are you illiterate?
You are illiterate.
So it's a very, very kind of a thing that is a career literacy is a very, very important thing. And let's understand what this whole word means before we, kind of point fingers at each other and say that, are you literate or are you illiterate? Let's understand it. Let's at least have an interesting talk on that. Over to you,
Sure.
Vidya.
Yeah, sure. So Anand, tell me why the career literacy is important. Why do you think it's important?
Okay, now let's go by the literal meaning of the word called literacy. The literal meaning, if you look at the Oxford Dictionary, it talks about saying that you need to have something very essential. For example, if you want to have that basic literacy, you need to read, write, able to calculate certain numbers. That's the basic part of it. Now, very frankly, when it comes to the word career literacy, now the confusion gets created by a lot of things all around. When I say confusion, today there are too many options. Let's start off with education itself. Now there is art, science, commerce, but then there is every damn person in the next door will say, "Bhaiya, ye aapko ye karna hai." So the confusion starts getting created by this thing. Second, the world of work actually has too many options, too many streams, too many specializations, too many this thing. We actually have not known what will make the person happy when he makes certain choices. Now, the first part of career literacy is all about somebody actually making a choice with a lot of conscious decision making, thinking it through, working it through. See, today the world of work has a lot of options. So when you are making a choice, the person actually doesn't know whether he or she is making a right choice or not. Now, that is where the literacy means. How do you actually help a person make a right choice? Secondly, how to create a path towards a particular career where an individual is going to be happy, successful, and has a lot of fulfillment at the end of that particular thing. Okay, that particular journey. Now that is where we need to educate our kids And not only kids, today we are seeing all youngsters also coming to us, and we're trying to educate them and saying that, okay, listen, this is how you make your choices. Okay. Unfortunately, what has happened is the market is so strong that the individual aspirations or happiness is just kept aside, and all these people have been pushed to in terms of the money part of it. Now, career is just not money. Okay, and we do this exercise with all the kids. We tell them, listen, if you don't have good health but you have a lot of money, will it be okay? If you have a lot of money but you don't have good relationship in your family, will it be okay? Okay, if you don't have all these things and you still don't know whether you're taking care of your parents or you don't even taking care of your duties and responsibilities in this world, will you still be happy? You might have a lot of money. So what is happening? The old adage of career is, मैंने पैसा कमाया, I have reached a bigger position, I have reached a taller position, I have made my career. Now that has to change, because somebody has to have meaning in the world of work. Because what we are seeing is, we are dealing with a lot of mid-career professionals, and over and over we are seeing them, they're pretty dissatisfied after 20 years of work life. Nobody's happy. They have everything in them in terms of money, in terms of wealth, in terms of houses, everything is there, but they're not happy. No, we cannot start at that stage after 20 years of work life. We should start much earlier, and we start educating these people and saying that, listen, this is what makes a good career all about, which is a well balanced kind of a career. And that is what, like, you should not only have money, but you should have the peace of mind, you should have the good well-being, you should have good relationships, respect in the society, plus, a lot of duties also need to be performed at the end of the day to, get meaning in life. And that is what career is all about. Now, this particular education haven't been taught in school. Now, let me tell you, as soon as the kid goes into the first standard, he is told, listen, marks are important. If you don't score marks, you will not be called intelligent. And if you're not intelligent, you'll not get good degrees. And if you not get good degrees, you'll not get a good job. If you don't get a good job, you don't get a good wife or a husband. And I don't know whether you'll live a good life. So that injection is done at that stage. I rather go down the line and say, listen, you need to have a balanced life. You need to be happy. You need to know what makes you happy. You need to know where you can contribute to the world. Now that is where the career education comes into place and career literacy comes into place. And that is what I'm talking about, career literacy. Over to you, Vidya. You can ask Shekhar also about it. What does he feel about it?
शेखर, आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे करियर लिटरेसी के बारे में?
Yes, definitely. I would like to add to what Anand sir has already, opened up. It's a wide discussion, very interesting topic, career literacy. Like Naveen sir said, it's like questioning people. Oh, am I not career literate? Well, literally, the question, you have to ask the question many times. I have had career guidance sessions where I've asked children, and these children are from IITs. They would have finished their advanced IIT and they would have scored a rank of say 280 change, mains about 370 or 320 change. And when I asked the first question, कि भाई, what do you want to grow up and be? कि आगे जिंदगी में बनना क्या चाहते हो? Sir, I want to finish my IIT from this college, and in this branch. Okay, that is not the answer to my question. आगे बनना क्या चाहते हो? Sir, आपने मुझे सुना नहीं. I said I want to be an IIT engineer from this college in this branch. I said, okay, I will add more to that. I am saying that you will also finish your IIT, you will finish your IIM, probably you will finish your ISB, and you will also get it from MIT. But आगे बनना क्या चाहते हो? After literally about 7 or 8 seconds, this person opens his mind and says, oh, now I understand what your question is. The question was not what degree you're getting into or what degree you're acquiring. The question is, what do you want to grow up and be after you acquire the degree? Many important aspects that bring to life today, and I'll go back a little in history because it is important and very important for today's discussion. When I had joined the world of work in 2001, I had just finished my engineering in 2001. I graduated as electrical, electronics and telecommunications engineer. I got a job in Dell International Services. Thank you for, calling Dell. I used to do all of these things. And then what I realized was, as I grew in my role, it was important. Every performance cycle I would be asked, where do you see yourself? And there would be new things that company would always launch within the organization. Now this is 2001, 2002. Today, the world of BPO itself is dying. It is dead, literally dead in India. Today I get calls from automated voice response systems. Can you believe me? Narsi Monji is dialing out people and saying that, sir, for this MBA, dial this, for that subjects, dial this. Narsi Monji has also taken on IVR automated systems. So gone are those days where people used to dial out. This is just one part. Second part, today in the day and age of internet, the world is moving so fast. Back in 2001, 2002, we were told that technology changes every 30 days. Today, technology changes every less than 10 days. So is the world of career, so is the world of work, so is the position. I think what used to be a career about 8-10 years ago, now the skills requirements have increased. The role itself has evolved. The word is called as transmutation. And in one of our subscribed people that I always listen to, his name is George Leonard, he says, we have to be prepared for future. Intuition, being human, these are more important, and therefore the balance of your life is most important. And this is why it becomes extremely, extremely critical to understand career is not just education. It is about 45, 50 plus years of your life in the workplace. And more importantly, what are you going to do through that work? You should not just make money and die. You should also live a life. That life should be worth living, fulfillment. You should add value to yourself, add value to the people, also help people around. And then suddenly in 2019, 2018, 2019, thank God for the pandemic, 2020, Mr. Narendra Modi said, let's make India Atmanirbhar. And thank God, I'm saying, thank God for the COVID. If there is COVID in person, I would literally fall at the feet of COVID and say, thank you, आप आए, क्योंकि आपकी वजह से अगर आप नहीं आते तो हम आत्मनिर्भर के बारे में कभी सोचते भी नहीं. Because everything was outsourced to Chinese. Everything was outsourced, nothing against Chinese. But I think, we need to learn to stand our own ground. Because once upon a time where India was, the place which had Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, India was the place which gave the world everything, whether it is philosophy, literature, art, science, astronomy, architecture, yoga, medicine, you name the occupation, India has given the world everything. But today, we ourselves are found lost. So therefore, I think it is becoming extremely, extremely important for us to realize that career literacy is one of the most important things. Gone are those days where you did 4 years of graduation. Let me tell you, Google has launched something in which it is going to give you professional degrees, professional skills, professional knowledge in less than 6 months. That means 4 साल का हम लोगों ने कुछ तो कुछ गड़बड़ किया है. There is something deeply wrong that we are running our education system with. It is about time. Thank God these disruptors are coming. क्योंकि जब कोई नया आता है ना, then you feel threatened. And I'm glad that we feel threatened. All right, back to you.
Thank you, Shekhar. So we talked a lot about work of life and all those things other than career. So career is a part, I believe career is stages of life, maybe like where we have to have life skills also involved in that. So I'd like to ask Naveen, how can we help kids to develop themselves for this work of life? Do we have any method to do that?
Absolutely, Vidya, it's a brilliant question, and I think this is something that most of the audience is also looking forward to listen to, because I think that's exactly what Dheya is now planning to do with the Dheya Career Labs. Now, what is this Career Labs all about? When you talk about a lab, we do maths lab, we do chemistry lab, physics lab, and we do experiments, right? Now, interestingly, we are starting off something called Career Labs. Now, this Career Labs is about, so we thought, when we talk about education, now we've been shouting, screaming against education system, like what Shekhar said, that it's, too much of focus on the degree, spending too much of time learning things and, rote learning things and vomiting it and getting degrees and, at the end of the day, not ready for doing work at all. So on one side, we keep screaming, there's a lot of news on employability, okay? But we are going a little bit beyond that. It is not just employability. As you rightly brought out, life skills, personality development, skills for careers which are needed, with the futuristic skills that are needed, the thinking skills that are needed. Today, unfortunately, what is happening is we have stopped thinking, For example, a child doesn't know how to question. So they don't know how to question. Their learning is kind of being forced on them. They don't know how to investigate things or find out new things, critical thinking and all that stuff. So what we say is that, if we can provide a platform with mentors around who can actually work with kids and make them understand and make them learn First of all, become aware. So this labs is more about an awareness program, which is again broken into three parts. You can start off with a very basic awareness, saying that, okay, what is the first thing is understanding yourself, because till you understand yourself, there's no point, you cannot be contributing to the world. If you're talking about contribution, being a good human being, the first thing that needs to be developed, I believe, is called self-confidence and self-esteem. So developing self-esteem and self-confidence is a very critical part. So for that, every person needs to understand themselves. And as per the philosophy that we follow, everybody is unique and everybody has got strengths. Let us identify those strengths and let us make ourselves confident and feel confident about ourselves. That is number one. कि अपने बारे में विश्वास होना चाहिए, आत्मविश्वास बहुत important है. So that's the first part of it. So there'll be a lot of programs that we can conduct with them to develop that self-confidence. That will be the core of this whole program. Number two, become aware about the careers. A lot of futuristic careers. आगे क्या होने वाला है, अगले 10 साल में क्या होने वाला है, how things are going to change, what are the areas. So awareness building is very important. Now this awareness building is not only for children, बच्चों के लिए नहीं, पेरेंट्स के लिए भी बहुत जरूरी है. Because parents आज उनको मालूम होना चाहिए कि it is not just the things that you have been hearing. कोई आईटी में काम करता है तो they want their children to be in IT. कोई इंजीनियर है तो बोलता है इंजीनियरिंग अच्छा है. There are so many options today in the world जहां पे आदमी अपने आप कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकता है, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर सकता है. सो वी हैव टू मेक देम अवेयर. सो सेकंड पार्ट इज अवेयरनेस एंड द थर्ड पार्ट इज अबाउट डेवलपिंग स्किल्स एंड नोइंग व्हाट आर द स्किल्स टू डेवलप. ऐसे कौन से स्किल हैं जो डेवलप करने हैं. सो ये तीन मेजर पार्ट्स हैं एंड इनमें पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट भी लेके आना है कि अपना एज वी ग्रो वी हैव टू डेवलप आवर पर्सनालिटी. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट लाइक अ होलिस्टिक plan in which we can develop the kid completely. So this is the Dheya Career Labs that we are talking about. So over to you, Vidya. I think Anand would like to add some value to this.
Yeah, Anand, आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे Dheya Career Labs के बारे में?
Sure. See, my take on this. See, when we are talking about the word career, today the entire effort and the entire investment of anybody, any parent or any child for 18 years to get the child to be happy at the end of that thing, make a good living out of whatever the child has learned, build a nice kind of a lifestyle, at the same time build a nice life, meaningful life at the end of the day. Now what has happened is, yes, the academic part is also taken care of, which will of course give you the degrees and maybe an entry into the world of work, where saying that okay, if you are a graduate you'll get a particular job. But what about the rest of the things? Okay, when I say rest of the things, it needs to be looked at very holistically. Number one, okay, if we today, that's the first part of it, when if I tell a child, saying that okay, can you become a scientist in the field of hydroponics, or maybe let's take a new field which is going to come, which is say that biophotonics. Now 100% of the kids would even wouldn't know what is biophotonics. 100% of the kids. Now what happens is they are not aware of it, they don't know about it, and the field is growing. They take up degrees and then they start scratching their head. Is this something which I want to get into? Now those kids who are really progressive will go learn by themselves, go and search the videos on YouTube, do some courses on Coursera or maybe any e-learning program, and then they land up into saying that okay, I might take up this as my career. But today when the options itself which are known to the kids are so minimal, what do you expect a child to take up? Now we did this exercise in Chandigarh, okay. We went to a place called Panchkula in the camp, and we also went to a place called Dharmashala, and that was both were army camps, okay. Now very cordoned off areas. Kids would to go out of Panchkula and reach Chandigarh would take a long time. So all these kids are in a very kind of a protected environment, and in this protected environment they're all staying there. Now we asked them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Now, the outer influence was, I want to be a doctor, but an army doctor. I want to be engineer, but an army engineer. That was the maximum which people knew. The word called lawyer, the word called architect, the word called, any other thing, designer, was not even talked about. Now, that is the kind of a thing in which kids would take up a decision where they know the best around them. Okay, for example, when you ask this kid from the army camp, saying that, okay, what do you know? What do you want to take up? They'll say, okay, I have seen the army engineer, so I'll take up an army engineer. I want to be an army officer, I'll see the army officer. But they will not go out and say, is there something, I'm very good at drawing, so I might think of becoming a designer. That particular awareness is not there. Now, because of no awareness, there's a lack of decision making. And because of lack of decision making, the willingness to do something with a self motivation itself is the lower part of it. Now, just imagine I only have four options and I have to fit myself into these four options. Do I really get motivated as a child? Not necessary. So, it's our duty to give as many options as possible to those kids. As many options. Okay, can I take them through for the next 1 year, every week, one career? Say life as a submariner, life as a Air Force pilot, life as a nanoscientist, life as an artificial intelligence expert, life as an agriculturist, life as a so and so. Now, when I start giving those exposures, certainly the awareness will grow. Once the awareness grows, the willingness to get into that career also will grow. And let me tell you very frankly, today if you go to a normal engineering college, one thing I can guarantee you, because I've done work in the engineering colleges, almost 80% of 90% of the engineers say, we came here because we didn't want to do BCom, we didn't want to do BSc, we couldn't get into medicine, and we were only left with one option, that is engineering. And we got calls from the engineering colleges, and since we did JEE, we are into engineering. Are they really there by choice or by compulsion? If you allow people to make a choice through a very, very well, I would say, informed choice, the willingness to grow into that choice will be much bigger. And that is the reason we at Dheya said, let's give this program to our kids and say, let's build more awareness. Let's do it. And in this awareness, as we grow up, okay, kids will say, okay, listen, I have so many options to choose from. Now that is the only one part of it. Like Naveen was talking about, or when we talked about Naveen, when Naveen was talking about this entire, saying that it's just not about building awareness about careers, we also need to talk about a few more things. How to get prepared for a career. Now, this is something very, very critical. Okay. Now, understand this one big thing. Okay. Change is not readily acceptable by anybody. Okay. For example, the change maybe I move in from one step to another step. If you notice, the kids who score really well in 10th don't score very well in 12th. Why? You will understand why the change resistance is there. Once they change, they don't know the way they want to study in 10th are not necessarily the same kind of studies in 12th. When they get into engineering, there's a high amount of resistance to do a regular, I would call it as this thing. Okay, regular kind of what do you call it as push, to do their assignments and all that, which they never did in 11th and 12th. Now, are these kids going to be preparing themselves to move into the right direction? We don't know. The third part is getting ready for the world of work. And there where the work simulations, the projects and all come into being. Okay, now what is this thing all about work simulation, or what is this thing all about projects? Now tell me, Naveen talked about, and this is a very, very critical question, that people have stopped asking questions. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to make this claim, but most of the journalists only ask questions. Okay, and there's nothing against journalists, but then they're trained to ask questions. Okay, they'll ask a lot of questions. But what is this question about? It's about fact finding. But what about these kids where they want to know something deeper into something and understand the fundamentals? If you notice a typical classroom, the guy who asks questions is always sidelined. Okay, he says, okay, he talks too much, he's asking too many questions, and he's just pushed aside. Now, if we really want to build curiosity in these kids and want to build them into great career leaders, they need to know the subject well. And if they need to know the subject well, they need to ask questions. But not only that, they need to get the answer of that also. It's just not asking questions. Now, that is something is a part of a career literacy program. If they don't ask these questions about what career, what will I do, how will I get there, will I be happy, will I not be happy, what do I need to do, how many opportunities would come in, all these things have to be a part of this entire program where they need to ask questions about different careers. And the more the awareness, the more they are going to actually achieve certain things. Right. So over to you, Vidya.
So just now you mentioned about simulation, work simulation. So can you just explain what exactly it is?
Okay. Right. Let me explain this to you. So now what is work simulations? Today I'll tell you very frankly, if I make a person, I'll give you an example which happened to us. One of our employees, a very, very well qualified employee, okay, she was a topper in one of the colleges and an electrical engineer, came and joined us. And when she joined us, on that, we were in a very old office, and that day something happened, and the lights went off. And we were trying to search everybody. They said, what has gone wrong? Our neighbors have lights, the house below had lights, and the electricity was there. So we asked, who's the electrical engineer? The girl said, yes, I am the electrical engineer. Can you just check what has happened? So she went around and said, sir, शायद fuse गया है. So I said, okay, अगर fuse गया है तो change करिए. So she said, sir, this was not taught to us. Now, this is a real situation, okay, where so one of the situations we also faced in Ahmedabad when Naveen had met with a very minor accident and his leg was injured. We went on searching for a doctor who would do a first aid. And most of the doctors said we were never taught first aid in the medical college. Now, this is only a small kind of a thing in which we are talking about academics versus practicality. Now, I'm not saying that we will build every practicality. But for example, if we run a particular simulation in which we say, okay, I give you an option to run a factory, which is a simulation, and that is for a 2-hour factory, and we have some videos. I think Naveen will show that video after some time. Okay, this is a particular video in which we put a bunch of 8 people together and we said, this is the case. You've got an order from somebody. Now you need to procure material, you need to do all the costing, and you have to come in profits. Now just imagine that we are telling all these things and the kids are working there. They are planning out how much they should produce, how much they should, work with to get their money. Okay. How do you plan your, manpower? How do you allocate resources? What do you all do to actually work in a factory? Now, that is a learning kind of a situation. And generally we have around 30 odd different simulations in which kids actually prepare themselves with the skills that are not actually given by any classroom. To be one more situation which we ran, okay, we said, let's run a particular simulation in which you are a group of people and you're going to solve a particular problem. And these kids put themselves together and ran that particular simulation. They understood, okay, to bring this solution, I need to do this. This is the data collection, this is the analysis, and all these things put together where the things which are actually created in such a way that the learning is higher. Now, these work simulations are a part of this particular program, but it is at a third level. At the base level, let's understand what is career, what are the options I have. When we go to the second level, we start talking about, how to make choices. And at the third level, we start actually working with projects, work simulations, work exposures, and internships as well. Right? So these are the 3 levels of, activities which you do in the career education program. Over to you, Vidya.
Okay. Naveen, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah.
Work
I think
simulation.
I want to add something here. What Anand brought about is there's a very big mindset in most parents out here, and I would like to ask this to the parents here because we all believe that at the education stage, we are talking about work. So there's a big dilemma. When should a child start earning money? Is it are we trying to say that children should be earning money when they go to school? Are we trying to say that? That's going to be a question in many people's mind. So I don't believe, many people would believe that, you have to finish your education first, you have to learn everything properly, and only then you have to start working. But what is the right time when a child should actually start thinking about learning about work, getting ready for work is a big question that will come to their mind. And I would like to clarify this saying that, this mindset has to be changed. It has changed long time back in the West, and we have not learned our lessons. We are still following a age-old curriculum of doing, complete 12th standard and then graduation. And I find even some after finishing graduation children coming and asking, I still want to go and study and do my post-graduation, and they've still not earned a single pie in their life. Still the parents are supporting them. That's really sad because in today's day and age, I think it's very important to understand that by the time a child comes to maybe the 8th standard, 9th standard, and they're becoming teenagers, they have to start opening up their eyes to developing themselves to stand up on their own feet. I think independence is something that needs to be covered as part of skill building in everybody's mind. That I need to be independent. I need to stand up on my own legs. And that's something that should start as early as, when they start hitting the 8th standard, 9th standard level, and start getting exposed. Okay, this is the kind of thinking that is required. What we talked about, work simulation, we talked about projects, we talked about doing planning. It could be a simple thing like planning for say a picnic, or planning for going for a trek with your friends. But all these things, when you start doing it, a lot of other skills get built up. Of course, we cannot, what is also happening is, earlier, when we grew up, we were playing sports. Now, even sports, by the time the child enters 8th, 9th standard, even if they are playing sports till then, just because of exam pressure, the sports gets cut off from their syllabus. So that again becomes a lack of leadership skills being built up, lack of team building that is happening. All the values that were getting added because of the sport is gone, because those values are imperative in a business environment. And I think all people who are working will agree that what you learn in a field game is something very critical in any business, in any teamwork that we do. So all of these things have to be made available to our children today. This is a critical need of the hour. And that is what we are trying to provide, because we understand that there is a deficit today, that where children are not getting to do all these things. So it's very, very important that these skills are provided. These skills they get opportunities to understand, they get opportunities to learn, they face failures in life. Very important, because today children are all told that you should pass, you should pass, you should pass, you should get good marks. Nobody is teaching them how to handle a failure. Now these kind of projects and these kind of exposures teach them to fall down flat on their face, get up and stand up, fight it out, and achieve results. That's the kind of experience that we are talking about, and exposure that we are talking about, which is my point. Over to you, Vidya.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. Actually, it reminded me the projects nowadays given in the school. You won't believe those projects are sold in the market just to gain the marks. Kids are actually not putting any efforts to make that projects, and parents are supporting in that. So actually there is no use of giving those projects. As you rightly said, the kids need to have those exposure to be able to be in work of life, but that is lacking somewhere. Truly addressed. So can we have a demo of work simulation, so that even parents and if students are there, they will also get to know what exactly we are talking about?
Sure, Vidya.
It's already been invested. It's 2,200. Already हमने दे दिया. अगर ये डिस्ट्रिक्ट टूटा तो 600 रुपये. Okay, so be very careful. If you bought a single paper, you want a single paper, that is one paper of this. That is one single week. One half of this. It costs 600 rupees. So you want extra, you can always buy it from us. And you will break one stick, it's 1,000 rupees. 1,000 rupees. Okay? Now, you have to tell me three things. Number one, how many kites will you manufacture? Okay, you have to give me commitment accordingly. We arrange for the gifts. You are getting a buy from us. How will you bring this factory in profits? And you say, itna kiya to itna profit. And then we will give you 1 hour, so half an hour for discussion, 1.5 hours for building the kites. And you actually have to build it and submit it back to us. We will check 3 things. Number one, we will check the balance of the kite. We will ask you to take one sample and make the kite fly. Right? And number 3, we will see whether you are in profits or not. Okay, go ahead and run the show. You have all put together 1.5 hours.
पण एकाच्या दोनच बसतील, कारण ही इकडनं अशी हे पातळ आहे, पण ही बेंड होऊ शकते. काईट असा असतो तर मध्ये जे सपोर्ट लागतं की मेमो शकते त्याची जेवढी बेंडिंग असेल तेवढ्या शेपचा आपण काईट बनवू शकतो. एका काईटला 2 लागतील, केले वो स्टार्टिंग वाला यूज होता तो नहीं लगेगा आई थिंक सो बिकॉज ऑलरेडी सो सैवेज
त्याची प्रोडक्शन प्राइस ती प्रॉफिट मध्ये गेली पाहिजे. आपल्याला आपली सॅलरी नाही बघायची.
So first thing, you didn't ask the specification to the customers. You just went out, ordered the line, and you started dancing. That is the second one. What is the third one? You were so disorganized. You didn't check the material. Nobody asked for a calculator also. Yeah, this is only one of the simulations, and Naveen, you can unshare.
Anand, yeah. Can you just share that experience, because many of them were not able to see the audio and video. So if you can just share, you can just brief about the simulation.
Okay.
What was the story behind it?
Okay, now I'll tell you. We asked these 8. हमने क्या किया? 8 बच्चों को बोला कि आप एक फैक्ट्री में काम करिए. अभी बच्चों ने तो कभी फैक्ट्री में काम नहीं किया है, पर हमने बोला ये लीडरलेस फैक्ट्री है और ये फैक्ट्री में आपको काइट बनानी है. ये आपको एक ऑर्डर आया हुआ है एक बड़े कंपनी से, एक जो टॉय मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी से, जिसने आपको ये ऑर्डर दिया हुआ है और आप ये ऑर्डर सब कमिट करके आप बोलोगे कि इतना हम सप्लाई करेंगे आपको. इसका रेट डिफाइन करना है, कॉस्टिंग डिफाइन करना है और आखिर में इस फैक्ट्री को प्रॉफिट में लाना है. ये टास्क था. और ये जो टास्क है जो हमने ये 8 बच्चों को दिया, इन्होंने आपस में डिस्कस करके काम शुरू किया. अभी क्या हुआ है, एट द सेम टाइम when we started doing it, now typically without thinking, everybody started cutting papers, cutting the sticks, trying it out. There were disintegrated groups. Nobody thought what is happening. But slowly leadership emerged and they said, okay, we are going to sell this kite at 501 rupees. Okay, and then they said, we are going to produce so many kites. And if we produce so many kites, this will be the thing. But then when they saw the material already been torn off. It's already of no use. And when they started producing it, they could not even produce that number of kites which they had committed. So the entire factory, the kites didn't got bought by the customer. At the same time, they also lost their, I would say, credibility in the market. They also made a loss. Now, this is a kind of a learning which we wanted to give them, saying that, listen, there are too many factors involved when it comes to delivering a particular service or a product to a customer. And if you want to do it in a very systematic way, in a very structured manner. Okay. Now, the next part of it is after the briefing, we started telling them how to do it. This is just a beginning. How to do it is a very, very important thing. What mistakes could they have avoided? What are the things they would have done better? Now, these are things that when they start learning about it, when they start implementing in their particular life, it changes a lot of thinking about the workplace. Here, this was a simulation to run a particular enterprise, basically a manufacturing enterprise. And that is the whole thing which was taken care of in this particular simulation. Over to you with that.
So what can parents expect from our Dheya Career Labs program? What exactly we are planning to give them, or give students rather?
Yeah, so as part of the Dheya Career Labs, what we are planning to do is we are starting off with a basic program, as what Anand said. And this basic program is going to be run in a 12 weeks schedule. And this 12 week schedule is going to have sessions which will be about an hour or hour and a half or 2 hours long. And it will be divided into 3 aspects. It will be divided into aspects of self-development, career awareness, and career skills. And all these activities will be conducted, which will be very impactful. So we're going to take them through a practical journey. It will be going to be conducted live by a mentor. It will be activity based, like what we just saw in the video. So of course, this was a workshop simulation, which is the advanced level. But on the basic level, there are going to be a lot of inputs given to them, a lot of interaction that is going to happen, a lot of awareness videos and concepts are going to be cleared for them, and it is going to be very interactive. The idea is by the end of this 12 weeks, every child who undergoes this session is going to become completely aware and ready for getting into any kind of a career, and getting the awareness and also understanding about the skills needed, also understanding about that yes, I have a need to understand myself better. So these are the things that are going to be covered in the career labs. So this is going to be divided. It's going to happen, in a 3 months kind of a schedule. Every session will be of about an hour. So that's the plan that we are launching this program, which is getting launched on the 26th of this month, and the first session would start on the 30th of this month. Over to you, Vidya.
And what are the expectations of us from the parent side? What are we expecting from parents?
So typically, see, what happens is there is no career awareness or nothing is going to work unless parents become a partner to this entire effort of what they are trying to do. So let's be very clear about it that we are not magicians with a wand that we say something and children are going to change the very next moment. It's not going to happen. So number one, the parents also need to be part of this entire program. So we're going to do a lot of orientation with them. So even before we start the program, if parents have signed up for it, there's going to be a detailed orientation for the parents to understand why and what we are doing and how we are going to do it. So they understand it's a completely physical kind of a program, except for the fact that it's online. But when I say physical, it's going to be live. That means the way I am talking, there's going to be a person who's going to be talking and transmitting a lot of energy to the audience. So that's what parents need to understand. So it is not just a kind of a lecture or a speech that is going to happen. There's a lot of activity-based program that's going to happen. And parents have to participate in it completely with their heart and soul, because these children are going to go back home and this transformation of the children is going to be seen by the parents. So we would like the parents to also involve in this whole program, and we'll be taking feedback from them. And with the feedback, we'll be implementing whatever, how this program can be more and more impactful. So that's how this whole program is going to be run. So over to you, Vidya, on this.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. And एक पूछना था, अगर कोई बच्चा मतलब ज्यादा बात नहीं करता है एंड उसने एनरोल कर लिया ये प्रोग्राम में, सो वो कैसे इंटरैक्टिव हो पाएगा, मतलब सेशन? I am sure many of the parents will have that query. So I'm asking that.
Let me come into that, okay? I'll just come in there. Basically, any of our program is a two-way interaction. It's not a one-way interaction कि आपने आगे lecture दे दिया और काम खत्म हो गया. Okay, there are a lot of things. We understand that हर एक बच्चा अलग होता है. कोई बहुत जोशीला होता है, कोई बहुत बात करने वाला होता है, कोई बड़ा शांत होता है, कोई बड़ा सिस्टमैटिक एंड वेरी इंटेलेक्चुअल होता है. हर एक बच्चा अलग है और हर एक बच्चे के लिए अलग अलग करियर है. ये हमारा बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट है. हर एक के स्वभाव के लिए उसके अलग अलग स्वधर्म है. यानी देयर इज अ डिफरेंट करियर फॉर एवरी नेचर ऑफ अ पर्सन. Okay, now we understand this. So if the person is not able to speak, it's okay. That is the first thing. But what is more important is, has that kid learned? And what is he learned? So there are some mechanisms which you have put into place, जिसमें we will understand whether बच्चा पढ़ पाया, सीख पाया या नहीं सीख पाया. So कुछ feedback mechanisms है, कुछ interactive mechanisms है, कुछ assignments भी है, जिसमें वो automatically हो जाएगा. Now one of the questions asked is, what is the minimum age criteria starting from the 7th standard? That is the age of 11. That is where we start this entire program. They'll be put into batches, and it's a kind of a long program. It's not a short program. First 3 months is only the career orientation part of it. After 3 months, we will go to the advanced level, and then it goes to the 3 advanced levels after that. That is how the program is structured. Now, it is not a
Miss,
typical e-learning program. Let me tell you this, because in an e-learning program, it doesn't matter whether the kid studies or not. It's not a typical e-learning program. It is more of an interactive program where we expect the children also to pose their questions, understand these things, get them excited about various careers. Okay, make them inquisitive to go and do some research and then do some projects. That is what this entire thing is. One other part of the career literacy program is having a contest about various careers itself. And we did this exercise in offline mode in 2000, I think 15 or 16 in Pune, and it was one of the most successful programs we ever ran, where people came up with different studies of different careers, and it was an amazing thing. We could at least in a school get more than 300 odd occupations presented to the entire population through a kind of a community exercise. That's what it is. Now, there's a question where it will be restricted to the school going children. Can we think of students? Yes, 11th and 12th, it is also a part of it.
No, not only that, even the homeschooling children can also be joining it, right?
Yes. So,
so are we open for questions now? Can we take
yes.
the questions?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
First of all, I must appreciate this was a very nice interaction and very nice thoughts and thoughts how to shape up and find out the right interest of a child into what career the child wants to go into. Okay, I have got two questions. I'll just take one by one. The first question is definitely we know the child is very confused at a juncture when the child starts thinking about career, maybe at class 5 or 6, and parents also try to influence. मैं पायलट बनूंगा, मैं डॉक्टर बनूंगा, मैं इंजीनियर बनूंगा, मैं ये बनूंगा, so whatever, right? Rightly said by Mr. Anand that very less people or Mr. Naveen that very less child would say I will become a photographer or I'll become a designer or I'll become an artist, right? Now, as the time goes by and the child comes near to really take the subjects that he or she wants to go into, they start changing their career and they're very confused, right? From pilot, they come to engineer, from engineer, then they come to maybe something different and they end up doing something else. I know so many friends of mine who end up into a wrong career and they did engineering, mechanical engineering, did their MBA in finance and today working in bank, right? So we have many examples like this. So the point is this all is because of a lot of confusion and influencers that are around child who try to influence. The biggest influencers are the parents itself, because whatever the parent is not able to achieve in life wants the child to achieve it, right?
Absolutely.
Parent was not capable of doing that. How can the child be capable? How the parent can be sure of being capable out of it? Second, very point which I listened and really liked was at what age the child should start earning. That's a fantastic thought that was, I think, shared by Mr. Shekhar. And, I started earning in my life when I was in class 10th. My daughter started earning when she was in class 8th. So she made a rubber band bracelets and on the board of the society. And, children like that rubber bands, bracelets and all those. And she started earning out of her creativity, right? So the point is absolutely right. The child should get a conducive environment to decide when the child wants to earn in any class the child or any age the child could be, right? The only question that I want to ask the panel or this wonderful forum experts is, because of many influencers and many confusing statements in the child's mind, peer factor, all those things, how can we, is there any assessment tool? Is there any way to gauge the child would inherently or the child would naturally be good at?
Yes. Let me start off with the way we work on interests of an individual is we have what we call it as a hierarchy of interests.
Okay.
Now, when I say a hierarchy of interests, it's like a pyramid. When at the bottom of the pyramid you like several things, you don't like several things, and these likes and dislikes are so I would call it as so dynamic that today you like something, tomorrow you like something else.
Absolutely.
We cannot go based on the likes and dislikes of an individual. because especially when it comes to subjects, I'll tell you a very interesting thing which happens in subjects. Uh, the child likes mathematics because the teacher of mathematics is very good. In the next class, the child goes to the same mathematics class and the teacher has changed. The child starts hating mathematics.
Absolutely.
Now, this is very dynamic. So, when the bottom is very dynamic in terms of like dislikes, we need to put these kids into certain activities. Now, we call
Yeah.
this activity level interest. Now, they are more stable. For example, I had a kid who came and said, I love football. You know that I can die for football. I can do everything for football. I asked this kid, can I show, can I see your legs, please? The kid immediately removed his shoulders and said, I said, your legs seem to be very soft. How do you play football? He said, no, I play it on my video games. Now, that was very interesting. Now, the kid is interested in video games and not exactly in football. Now, what happens there is when you put the child into particular activities and the child starts liking those activities, there we say, so from, I would say millions of likes and dislikes, we can come to at least hundreds of activities which the child is really interested in.
Mhm.
Let's go a little higher up. We say, okay, let's understand what the real, love or maybe where the child is gaining expertise in.
Yeah.
Okay, when you do certain things again and again, again and again, you repeat it and you love doing it, you tend to gain certain expertise. And that is called the expertise level interest. When you go to the third level of this, it's a gaining of expertise. And when the expertise starts actually getting into that entire thing, where you need to know that from hundreds of activities, the guy got into 10, only 8 to 10 activities the kid is really very, very good at and is also an expert. Now it's a good ballpark, I would say, good pointers towards what the child wants to do in life. Then we go further up, and we say, okay, now there are a couple of things the kid is also loves, enjoys, and cannot live without. And that is what is passion all about. Okay, and the passion comes there. Saying I cannot live without certain things, and I'm too good at it. I just enjoy doing it. And there, if the person checks marks saying that this is what I really love to do, we have got this thing. Now, here the challenge is. Number one, we have a lot of beautiful tool which actually tests the activity level interest of a person. But
Okay.
I would not restrict it there. Put the child into various exposures in which the child says, okay, you try this out, you try test this out, you work this out, and then we come to the expertise level there. And that is how we would not only go with the tool, we would add on the tool with a lot of experience and then help the person make a choice. So that's why the research, the awareness is very critical. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Anand. Definitely, I got it. Thank you so much.
Actually, I'm sure you have been telling about your course, so it must have been designed very nicely and keeping all the things in mind. But my question is that okay, all the things are online. If a student face any problem, can he be in touch with the local mentor who is around his locality,
Yes,
if he or she wants to?
yes,
Because online learning, not all students are very comfortable.
I
So
understand that.
at some point of time, they might need some contact, personal contact or personal attention. So is there any provision for that?
Yes. See, I tell you, the first part is only the education part. But the second part is we expect every child to undergo a career planning and a mentoring process where we assign a mentor to the child. And that is not this thing. We are not like a touch and go or one test and buy. Okay, one decision and buy. We are a company which talks about mentor for life. So any mentor who gets assigned to you, to your child, okay, will be assigned for life. And as an organization, we back that mentor with the data, with the research, and of course, with a lot of, I would say, support is given to the mentor so that the child grows up and does something well. So you will always have a lifelong support when it comes to career planning and the career development planning in that. That is
Not
always.
only that, Not only that, you also are part of a parenting community, and also community of mentors are there. So you're supported not by one person, but by complete organization. So that's the kind of work that we are doing. So you don't have to worry on that accord. We'll look after you completely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Actually, the thing is that now, because of the awareness through internet and various mediums, the kids are becoming aware very soon. My daughter, she is going to get into first standard, and she's still talking about fields of work. So, is 7 too late, or can we have it done at fifth standard? Is that something that could be worked about? Because kids are becoming aware through internet, through all these via mediums. So because she's telling me she's directed towards one field of work, and she has some curiosity about a few things which she's parallelly working on. But I feel 7 years, seventh standard would be a bit means there must be a mechanism whereby you worked out seventh standard. But I guess fifth standard would be the right would not be the right, would be a age when they are already in their field of work, when they are into their
Yeah,
school life.
I can understand that. We have not considered it, but certainly we'll take your suggestion, and because we were contemplating from fifth standard onwards. But at this moment, when it comes to fifth standard, we were thinking of having more offline sessions with them than the online sessions. Okay, so that's the reason we said let's hold it for some time. Okay, and once it is there, we will be happy to do it from fifth standard.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know the timing for the session.
Okay, initially the first batch we were planning to run in the afternoons, okay, between 3 to 4, or maybe 4 to 5. That is the timing we are picking up, because I'm sure kids are all in their schools and all that. We are starting off, of course, with the weekend side of it, so that they also don't miss out the schools, which is at this moment, which are online. And that's what we're doing.
So you will be having the course basically separate batch for separate class, or it's
Separate
a
batch,
combined
yeah,
one?
separate batch for separate classes. We are now defining the age groups. We are not going by the classes as such. We are going by the age groups, so that the level of
Okay.
understanding in that age group, because even the way we communicate with them is different, because the maturity level at every age is different, and that's the reason we are doing it at different timings.
So it will be a one-on-one session? No, initially it will be.
Group sessions only. One-on-one session
Okay.
is a career planning session which we conduct, which is a part of the advanced program, which is not a part of this program.
Okay. Thank you.
So one caveat there: be careful, everybody. This could be very addictive. You might want to drop out of regular school soon. Huh? I can assure you that. So don't blame us later on.
Right.
Sir, as I've mentioned in the chat also, is there any way, we can see the results of the classes which the students might be taking? Is it something which can be tracked so that, parents can be satisfied with what you're providing?
See, we are launching the dashboard, okay, which a parent would get the dashboard, and the parent would see what exactly happened in today's class. Now, the communication between Dheya and parents is very critical over here. Now, for example, when we do certain activities, and we will be sending you some email or at least some kind of a communication, maybe on a WhatsApp group or whatever it is, where we expect the parent to go and ask कि आज क्या हुआ class में, आपने क्या सीखा, and just have a conversation, because you as parents know that the world of work is more closely than the kids. So when they start understanding that and discussing that, you will see the excitement. And when you see the excitement there as parents, automatically you will start getting those responses. Okay, so the dashboard is there, where you will put in, you get a lot of communication that will happen between Dheya and especially the parents. Yeah.
And we will be creating one WhatsApp group also where all the updates will be given to the parents, like what all has been done in that session. And we'll have some work with parents as well. Like there
Reviews
will
also.
be interaction with, yeah. We'll be in continuous touch with parents about the happenings in the workshop.
First of all, congratulations to the team of Dheya for this wonderful presentation and the discussion. It was very good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
And
much.
coming to the topic which Mr. Shekhar has said about keeping up with the skills and upgrading yourself to the skills required. I had recently seen one photograph of a photographer sitting in a helicopter. So that one thing, one picture. Now there is drone which has replaced the photographer, the pilot, and the helicopter. The drone has taken away 3 jobs.
Yeah, I know.
So drone has taken away 3 jobs. So we need to keep upgrading ourselves.
Exactly.
The second thing was that in the discussion it was that the parents also should be involved. Maybe it would be very difficult to catch up with all the parents, but is there any possibility that we can tap with the schools and the teachers can be involved to enlighten the students about the requirement of career literacy? Because
We are already
teachers would
doing
be
that.
more influential.
Yeah, we are doing that. We are doing that. If you have any references of schools, we'd be happy to connect with them and run these literacy programs with them.
Definitely.
And I think there is some student of SYBA who says that is this workshop relevant to me? I need career guidance. Please do come to us. We'll be more than happy to guide you. And this is the right place for you to come and do your career guidance. So do come to us. No problems. We'll look after you.
I am involving in your programs for the last couple of months and also interacting with your people. Your programs are, the design of the programs are very good. But my concern is, see, if you want to take it to school, first of all, the headmaster must accept it. Even if the headmaster accepts it, the management should accept it. So, first of all, we have to give awareness to the management people. Then, headmasters. See, for example, if you have taken Chennai, you got 300, 400 schools. So, how you are planning to take it to that level?
So it's what you're saying is exactly what we have been doing. So last 6 months, we have trained more than about 800 principals of various schools across India. All these principals are now part of our community called Career Gurus. They've been certified as Career Gurus, and then we are signing up MOUs with schools. And we have about 30 to 40 schools who are now signed up with us, where we are doing year-long programs with them, which is the Dheya Career Labs is running there. So we are already doing that. So we'll be very happy to, in case you have some references, you can just register, ask them to come to our program. We offer this Career Guru certification, and these principals, and then even educators, not only principals, now we are offering it to the teachers, we are offering it to the management of the schools. So anybody who's interested can come and join this program, which is just a 12-hour program in which they get a complete insight about career awareness, and we certify them, and then they sign up MOUs, and then we work with them. That's how it's working.
In these sessions, parents should also sit?
No, not required. The parents should come back to us for the review meetings of this. We'll be having a lot of reviews in this entire program.
Let me thank all the participants. Thank you for your valuable time. And I know it's Friday evening. And thanks a lot for your time. We'll stay in touch. We'll be getting in touch with you all. You can enroll for your kids through our link. And tomorrow we'll be getting in touch with you. If you need any more information about this program, do get in touch with us. I'll be sharing my number also. We'll share more numbers where you can get in touch with us to know about this program. I'd like to thank Anand, Naveen, and Shekhar for their time and very valuable information about career. And I'm sure all the people around here and the students have got enough knowledge of career, and we can say now that we are career literate. Some little bit of career literacy we have got. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vidya. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Namaskar and
Thank
good
you for
night.
the opportunity.